All right, welcome. As everyone is arriving, we're going to give it just maybe one more minute here and then we will get started. All right, well, welcome to our Inclusive Learning Circle series. And today the topic is going to be AAC in high school and transition. And I just wanted to remind you all about our open access accessibility promise. We are committed to the following principles of UDL and to making this presentation and related materials as accessible as possible. So a few of the strategies that we're using today that you'll see include simple backgrounds with high contrast, real text. We have digital and print materials available. We have shortened links when possible, so we've used tiny URLs and QR codes. We have alternative text for all of the images that we've used. We hope to be providing multiple examples and non-examples, and also opportunities and options for participation and feedback. So just a quick introduction. If you're new to our inclusive learning circles and open access, we just want to let you know that open access is one of the statewide special education resource leads within the statewide system of support. And we are grounded in the foundational belief that with access to high quality instruction, all students can engage, actively participate, and learn within inclusive settings. What makes our project unique is that we highlight the importance of learning and participation for all through universal design for learning, assistive technology for educational productivity, and augmentative and alternative communication. So please bookmark our website to easily access the free universal resources we have for educators and administrators that are designed to support the implementation of UDL, AT, or AAC. And we have an image here that you can click on that is a one-page flyer that details our three-tiered approach to assisting LEAs and SELPAs statewide. So we are going to be posting a home-based document into the chat that will have links that you'll need to access as we go through this session, or those that you can refer back to later. We'll also place those links into the chat as they come up, so you can use whichever format is easiest for you to access. When you click the link for the home-based document, it's going to prompt you to make a copy. It's a Google Doc, and so just let us know if you don't have access or if you don't use Google Docs, and we can get you a PDF version. So we're going to go ahead and put that into the chat. So in addition to just listening to the presenters today, we also may be asking for your participation. So we may ask you to unmute and share. We also may ask you to put things in the chat. We will also be monitoring the chat for questions and comments. So if you have a question that comes up and we can't answer them if we run out of time for some reason, or if the question is more complex than we have time to do during the presentation, there will be an opportunity for you to add those questions that we will then answer after this webinar is finished. All right, so I'd just like to do an introduction or some introductions here. We're going to all introduce ourselves. We are the panelists today. I am Jennifer Wright, and I am the AAC Content Specialist for the Open Access Project based here out of Placer County, SELPA. And I am joined today by these two other lovely SLPs. So Cassandra, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Cassandra Guerrero. I'm a speech language pathologist at Diagnostic Center of Northern California, and we are a state-funded agency that supports school districts throughout Northern California, from Monterey all the way up to the Oregon border, with assessment, technical assistance projects, and trainings.
All right, and Natalia.
Hi, everyone. My name is Natalia Silva Sepulveda. I am an SLP here at Hollister High School in San Benito County, and I am one of the SLP leads here at this county.
Thank you. So we're all excited to be here with you today. All right. So as we welcome you all here today, again, we appreciate your time as we know we're heading into the end of the school year. But we feel like this topic is also very timely as we are heading into the end of the school year. So this topic of AAC in high school and transition. But with all of our sessions, we like to start with something called an inclusive welcome. That's not something that we made up. It's one of the signature practices from CASEL, which is the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. And there are many ways to do this practice, but today the way we're going to do it is I'm going to ask you to fill in the blank for this sentence starter with just one thought. So you may have many, but I'd like for you all just to write down one thought and to put it in the chat. So when my students who use AAC leave the public education system, I want them to, so go ahead and think of one thing that you want to happen for your students. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing incredible things showing up here. Be independent, retain their voice, be fluent in AAC communication, autonomy, social opportunities. Awesome. Thank you very much for participating in that. All right. Well, I think that most of us are here because we probably know what AAC is already, but just in case we have some people who are new to AAC, this is just a very brief definition of AAC. It really is everything an individual uses to communicate or to enhance communication. We know that as part of that, different strategies may be needed for different situations and also different communication partners. And also that strategies and tools may be combined to meet a variety of communication needs. And really our goal is that we want all of our students to be able to show what they know and understand, build independence and autonomy, and build relationships and social connection, which were many of the things that you guys just added to the chat. So here is our path today when we're talking about high school and transition. We're going to talk about fostering independence. We're going to talk about routines to support life skills. And then we're going to talk about some things that are really important before our students age out. So for our first topic of fostering independence, we are going to be hitting on these three ideas: self-advocacy, shared decision-making, and also strategies. So I'm going to turn it over to Natalia now to get us started with self-advocacy.
Thank you, Jen. Yeah, so we're going to start talking about self-advocacy, and this is a crucial skill that empowers students to take control of their own education. So it's all about helping students understand their needs, communicate them effectively, and actively participate in their decisions. And one of the best ways that we can help them access that is to teach phrases and program important vocabulary into their devices. So we can teach phrases that empower students, like, I don't like that. Like, we want them to be able to express their wants and needs, but also to set boundaries, right? So we can teach them phrases like, I don't like that. Can you help me, please? Or I don't understand. I want to do this instead. Or I want to do this. I need a break, or I need more time. So these may seem like small phrases, but they are huge when it comes to building independence and self-advocacy. So this is a very cool thing. It's a self-advocacy folder in the Proloco to Go app. I found this in the nwacs.info website. I haven't done this with my students, but I will be doing it because I really love the idea. And it's just a self-advocacy folder to add all these phrases and vocabulary that they could use. So some examples of things to include are, I am autistic, or stop pressuring me, let me stim. Let's see, it's too loud. Don't touch my AAC. I even love that they included a folder with bad words, so they can also have access to that. So we know that self-advocacy doesn't happen overnight. So we need to build in experiences for our students to practice these skills. So one thing that I do is that I always do a self-advocacy lesson where I teach the students what self-advocacy is, and I teach them different ways to ask for help. We also do a lot of role playing. So we can just add those phrases into their device and hope for them to use them, right? We need to teach them and model those phrases in different contexts. So we do a lot of role playing in the classroom. We also can encourage the students or model these phrases during lunchtime and social settings. So we can encourage the students to order food, go to the cafeteria and order what they want to have, or choose where to sit, or if they want to join a conversation, or what they want to talk about. Also do a lot of modeling and practice these skills in work-based settings. So here at the high school, we also have the transition program. So we go out in the community, or we have some work experiences here on campus, so we can practice these self-advocacy skills. Also, encourage your students to join clubs. This is a great opportunity to have those social connections and practice these self-advocacy skills. And I think one of the most important ones is including your students in the IEP meeting. So help them be part of that, making the transition goals and the IEP goals, so it's meaningful to them. So this is actually a snapshot of one of my self-advocacy lessons. I typically do this lesson more than one time in a year, like maybe 3 or 4 times. And we read a social story about asking for help or what self-advocacy is. And then we practice asking for help in different ways. So we have switches in the classroom where they can like go and touch the switch if they want to use that modality. We practice asking for help using the core board, using their apps, or typing out if I have good spellers. We also use icons and practice the sign for help. This is to the left, one of my students ordering food out in the community. We always do this with our students here on campus and in the community. So encourage them to have these opportunities. And to the right, we do something called the Community Hero Fair, where we have people from the community coming on campus and they share about what they do, their jobs. And one way of promoting self-advocacy is asking our students, making them choose where they want to go and what questions they want to ask. So self-advocacy doesn't happen in isolation, it happens in community. So one of the most important things that we need to do is do that peer and staff education on AAC acceptance. So teaching your peers, peer helpers, we have peer helpers here where the gen ed students come into the classrooms and help our students and staff members to wait and listen to AAC users, help them understand that AAC is a valid form of communication, encourage staff to model using AAC alongside the students. That way they can like model those self-advocacy phrases, making sure that the AAC users are given a voice in class discussion. So not just asking yes, no questions, like include them in the discussion, give them real choices, train people to accept all modes of communication. And the most important one, don't speak for the student. So helping peers and staff understand that this is their voice and we need to listen to them, give them that wait time so they can express themselves. The next one is teaching operational skills and customizing AAC tools. So one thing I do with my students, I have a lot of students that are have some verbal speech, but they are very hard to understand. So they have AAC to support that communication. So practice what to do if someone doesn't understand the message. Do I use AAC to repair that communication breakdown? Or do I rephrase, pointing, using type out your message, or even using gestures or pictures? So really working in that multimodal communication, like teaching the student that they can communicate the way they want. And also with your advanced communicators, help them and teach them how to program their AAC devices. So they know how to add new words, how to modify things, and how to manage the volume, all those operational skills that they need to be successful. So to the left, I put a snapshot of a social story that I always give to my students, taking care of my communication device, where I explain what the communication device is, why we use them, why it's important for people to ask for help if they want to use it with them, so they own it, like they understand that it's their own. And to the right, I put some operational skills that we can address with our students, like turning the volume up or down, depending on the social situation, adding words. I have a student that is in Gen Ed right now, and he uses an eye gaze to communicate, and we have been working on operational skills and him adding words or adding phrases, and he's been working on participating in a lot of Socratic seminars lately, and he's been going to his device and started working on those phrases and adding them more independently, which is what we want for him. Also, charge the tablet or the iPad. Sometimes my students come to school without their device charged, which is not ideal, but I'm taking that as a teaching opportunity. So what do we do? And now they know that they need to go get the charger, and there is a charging station. So practice those skills. Get the device in the morning. I work at the high school setting, and some students unfortunately come to the high school without a device. So when they get one here, is new for them, so they're not used to carrying it. So they put it in the backpack and they forget. So working on that skill of taking the device out of the backpack and having it with them all the time. And also, this is really interesting. When they can't see the screen, I have a student that is coming to school now. She was refusing to come to school, and she's coming and she's working outside of the classroom, and I was supporting her, and I was like, well, I can't really see anything. So working on those operational skills and what to do, how to problem solve when we have situations like that.
All right. So another great way to work on self-advocacy is creating an About Me book, which your students can also have input into. So it helps share their personal information, and you can include things like obviously their name and a picture of them, ideas about how they communicate for anybody they might be talking to, things they do and don't like, how they can be supported best, and any goals and dreams that they have. So on the next slide, I have some examples of an About Me book from a student I worked with recently. And these are just a few of the pages. And he chose the font, colors, and everything, and the pictures. But it says things like, I like playing with my dog and swimming in the pool. What do you like? Sometimes I feel shy and I don't like to talk, especially when I'm asked lots of questions. I also use my iPad to talk. I don't like it when people get too close. I like my space. It will take me time to warm up to you. And let's break the ice by talking about ice cream. What's your favorite flavor? So we have some social questions in here as well, right? To kind of help start a conversation. When he came into the center, I helped him get comfortable with other assessment team members by putting this device in a switch, and he was able to use the switch to read the book to everybody and kind of tell them about himself, and then they were able to engage with him with the questions. And I have a video of this on the next slide. We were having a little bit of trouble with our audio earlier, so if it's hard to hear, I will kind of narrate what's happening.
Sorry, excuse me, guys.
Okay, so it's hard to hear. So right now he is turning the pages and pressing a step-by-step that has the text that's on the pages in there, and it's the same book that I just showed you. So he's basically telling her about himself. And she is, the last question was about the ice cream. So she's asking him about what kind of ice cream he likes, or where he gets the ice cream he likes, and he wasn't sure how to answer. He doesn't use a lot of spoken language when he's anxious. So I'm modeling here. I think I typed in Baskin Robbins as a guest that I have. Can you let us know where you like to get ice cream? And so then he ends up typing that he likes Cold Stone. And that's where he gets his ice cream.
Stone, Cold Stone.
There we go. I can kind of hear that.
Ice cream.
Pause it.
Do you add chocolates to it? Yeah. Add Cold Stone.
Want me to pause it or watch this?
No, you keep going. We can hear it now.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yesterday, didn't you tell me you do Rocky Road with marshmallows and chocolate? Mm-hmm. Do you get 1 scoop or 2 scoops? 2 scoops on a cone or a cup? A cup. Ooh.
So that's just a really great example of his self-advocacy, just in terms of he used a switch, he's typing, and then he used his voice a little bit at the end there very quietly. And so, but that was a really great way for him to let us know how he prefers to communicate and a lot of other things about himself. So you get to know him better. The next one is talking about talking mats. This is one of my favorite strategies that I recently found, and I use it for assessments and for supports for students. And talking mats are basically a framework with structure and visual support to help provide opportunities to have conversations. So a talking mat is basically a board that's set up with a topic card in the middle at the bottom, and then you have positive and negative rating scales, so to speak, at the top, and sometimes a neutral in the middle. It's always set up the exact same way, so the student has the same motor plan, and then you give them 10 to 20 icons, and then they sort them based on whatever the topic is. So, for example, this one, the topic, it's a topic word of the core word go, and so the student was given different places or activities and asked, do you like to go to soccer, for example? And so they put that under yes, and so on and so forth. And so it's a way to help talk to and not for the communicator, and also explore different functions of communication, including opinions, and to build more confidence and autonomy and show that everybody has opinions. And also for our students that don't get to express their opinions a lot, it's a great way to kind of have an emerging practice with that skill of expressing your opinion about something and realizing that there's not a right or wrong answer for anything, for some things, and that they can have whatever opinion they want. So the next one is a example from that student you just saw the video of. And so one of the ways I used talking mats with him was that the topic was a communication modality. So the examples I added here are typing and talking, but we did it also for switch use and using a low-tech board. And he was able to then sort people, locations, different places he likes to go into where he's comfortable typing, where he's comfortable talking, where he would like to use switches. And as you can see, based on this example, the typing, he had much more neutral and positive responses to 69% of the things that we tried. And then with the talking, about 8% of them were a yes, there was no neutrals, and the rest of them were a no, I don't like talking. And mom was the only one that he said he really felt comfortable using his spoken language with. And then you can see the percentages for the other things here as well. So it's a great tool. You can adapt it in a lot of different ways for transition stuff that we'll talk about later. And it really helps to get an idea, a visual, really low demand idea of how the student is feeling about different things.
Okay, we're gonna talk about shared decision making now. This is a very important part to support our students who use AAC, especially as they move through high school and transition. So shared decision means that the students aren't just present for decisions, they're truly involved. So their voices, preferences, and goals are centered in the process. And this is super important because it helps the students develop self-determination, builds their confidence, and ensure their education and transition plans reflect who they are and what they want for the future. So we should have our students be active participants in choices about their education goals and support. This is important because it builds confidence and trust. we can use AAC to involve our students in the IP, in their daily routines and personal preferences. Remember to offer those real choices, not just yes, no questions. So offer option, explore ideas together and give the students time to express themselves. We should also model and scaffold this. So teach what decision making looks like so they can see it. And we can use visual supports for that, scripts or role playing to show how to weigh options and express opinions. And we have two resources here that we can use so our students can give input for to participate in that IEP transition planning. So we can use Talking Maths or Google Forms. So this is a Google form created by spedadulting.com. I can't remember if this is free, but if not, you can use create your own Google form. So she created this very comprehensive form. So to gather information about what the students want to do after they graduate high school. And this is what we use here at my school. And it's a really good tool to gather information about what they want to do. And another example would be Talking Maths, just like Cassandra just shared. This is a Talking Math with a student where he was communicating preferences of what types of jobs he would be interested in doing. So we have here to the left what he wants to do or he's interested, and to the right what he's not interested in doing.
And these are some additional resources from Helen Sanderson and Associates, which is, I believe, a UK-based company. I just put a couple of examples here of some of the templates they have, but they have fillable templates that are really simple and great prompts, really, to help you have a discussion about different transition-related topics. There's a decision-making profile about how I like to get information, how to present choices to me, ways you can help me understand. And you can break all of these down also with the Talking Mat in terms of if they need a little bit more structured visual support and in terms of generating ideas for this type of thing. This middle one is the important to versus important for, which I love because it basically is kind of they get to advocate for things that's important to them to have in their life as they transition. And then other people who are helping with that supported decision making can talk about things that are important for them. So maybe it's important for them to go to the dentist and to take a shower, right? But that may be not important to them. But we can still then balance those important skills that they're going to need to be able to do and still acknowledge the things that are important to them as individuals. And then there's also another template here. There's tons of them on that website and it's linked here. So I encourage you to check those out.
All right, so now we are going to move on to our second stop on our path, which is all about routines to support life skills. So within this section, we're going to talk about work-life experiences and how important it is to practice those and to learn the vocabulary that's associated with different work and life experiences, and ways that we can do that through not only community-based instruction, but also some examples of how we can do that on campus. So when we're talking about why those routines are important, it's super important for our students to have experiences that they're going to be able to use for future employment. So these are going to include communication opportunities and skills, most definitely. And so by embedding these activities into our curriculum for our students, we are supporting building that independence and confidence, connecting learning to real life situations, promoting self-advocacy in the moment, increasing engagement and motivation, and also really gathering that information that's going to help support that transition planning. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to toss it to Natalia again, but then we're going to see some of these in action.
So how do we do this? Here at my school, we have had different student-run businesses. We did have a coffee shop like 4 years ago. Then we had a smoothie shop. And right now we have a class here that does Baylor biscuits. This is where they do dog treats and then they sell them to staff. We also have recycling programs here on campus and delivery tasks around campus where they deliver mail to the teachers or their whatever they print. So yeah, we also do those community-based learning, so ordering food in a restaurant or navigating public places. And here it's really important to have that collaboration with teachers because you have to collaborate with them, what kind of vocabulary they're gonna need, depending on which the work sites they go to. And by practicing these life skills in real world settings, we are helping students build the confidence and independence they need to succeed beyond high school. So here to your left, we have our students doing this smoothie shop. So I collaborated with the teacher and created scripts and added vocabulary so they did everything. They handled the food, they prepped the smoothies and then all the customer service part. So in the left, they're serving those smoothies, and then to the right, we have a student making the smoothie. Here we have to the left, I think this was during Teacher Appreciation Day, and they were giving teachers like a lavender and a thank you note. So we worked on recording those switches and putting vocabulary in their devices so they could have those exchanges. And then to the right, we work at the school pantry here, stocking the shelves and also being the cashier. So putting that vocabulary there so they can like not sell because it's free, but they still do the whole process of like the exchange and putting things in a bag. So it's good practice. And then this one is one of our transition students. This is off campus and she was a greeter at Gold's Gym. So greeting people that were coming to the gym or saying goodbye to the people that were leaving. And this one is an example of a coffee cart business. This is in Escondido, and they actually won an award for this. So we were having some troubles with the audio, but hopefully we can hear it.
All right, here we go. Maybe it won't even play. There we go.
Hi, welcome to Orange Bun High School. I'm Courtney Coppin. I am a teacher in our Montevere program here. My name is Nicole Bellinger, and I'm one of the speech language pathologists here. And together we have worked to create this awesome card that you see before you. Yeah, so we made a club through our ASB program, and this is the Orange Flame Coffee Co. Coffee cart completely run by students in our life skills programs here at Orange Flame High School, and our slogan is Brewing Independence. Yes. We're very excited about being able to bridge the communication and the speech and language development with functional living skills and just really getting the experience here in high school to prepare them for their next steps. So we have a lot of really great pieces set up. Students are able to learn like comparisons and colors and really work to learn those skills and also practice communication. So we have many AAC users, so we're able to model and use the different systems when delivering to say, here is your coffee. So they're able to use their devices and have a voice as well when they take it. So it's been really wonderful to tie in AAC with what this Courtney is working on. So we're just here to prove with the collaboration between a couple of great folks and great classes and great students, anything is possible. Four. Okay, I'm gonna get my coffee. My name is Emily. I like coffee cart. Here's your coffee. Good job. Thank you.
Alex, thank you so much. The coffee is always my best part of my day, and the fact that you're bringing it to me is even better.
Sorry. Well, we might have to watch it again. No, there we go. Oh my gosh. There we go. Sorry. All right. So now we have arrived at the final stop on our journey today, and it really is a critical one. So as much as we focus on preparing our youngest students to begin their educational paths, it's equally important, if not even more important, that we ensure our students are fully prepared to transition out of the public school system. So our goal really must be to set them up for success as they step into adulthood, giving them their strongest foundation possible to thrive in that next chapter of their lives. All right, back to Natalia.
Okay, so the most important thing to do before our student exits the program is to secure that personal AAC device. So if a student is using a school provided device, they're gonna have to return it when they exit the program. So we need to start the process of getting them a personal device. Typically what I do is at the beginning of the school year, I get the list of the students that are gonna be aging out, and I try to start the process right away. The earlier, the better, because sometimes it takes time. So you can get explore funding options through Medicare, Medi-Cal, and private insurance, and have that contact with different AAC vendors. Typically, they will help you with this process. You will have to write a speech and language assessment, saying that the student needs an AAC device for medical reasons, and most devices are covered if they have medical, but you need to do that process of connecting with the AAC vendor. Some of them require trials, so that's why it's important that you start early so you have time to work on all of that. Then if your student doesn't have insurance or medical, you can access programs like the DDTP, which is the Deaf and Disabled Telecommunication Program, that may offer support if insurance doesn't cover the medical equipment, medical durable equipment. So this is a state-funded program, and they provide communication devices completely free of charge, or there might be a small copay, but the time I did it, it was free. But you need to, this is for California residents, and you have to provide that they need to, you need to show proof that they need access to the use of a telephone. So it's the same process, but you do it through the DDTP. You need to complete a speech and language assessment, get the doctor's order, and then they will send you a device and you need to trial it and then make the final recommendation. I was reading that is sometimes faster than the typical funding option with the insurance, but that was not my experience. I did it last year and it took forever. So make sure to start that process early. Then attending a transition meeting with the regional center is super important. We do hear transition meetings before our students exit the program. And regional center is always invited since they're taking over after they leave. So we should advocate for continued AAC training, device support, and other services post-graduation. I did once write a letter. A parent asked me to write a letter saying that they needed that training, that the new staff that was going to be working with the student needed to have training, and they needed to have access to an SLP to program the device when necessary. And I think that helps. So just advocate for your student that they need that extra support and ensure that self-advocacy remains a focus and that the student has access to ongoing communication. That's one of the most important things. And then training for family members. We should be doing this training as soon as the student gets the device, but I always do a refresher before my student exits the program. And then I teach them how to program the device. I always tell my parents that to try not to like mess, like add a lot of words. And if they need something, they should consult with an AC specialist or an SLP. But I do teach them how to change certain words because, for example, if they want to change the year or the age or the student's favorite things, because we change what we like. So they can go into their device and change those little things. I created like cheat sheets for them to like program those devices, and I share videos with the family. There are a lot of resources out there. So there are a lot of videos online on YouTube that you can share with them. I also recorded my own videos, like showing them how to like find words or program, change different vocabulary so they can have it in the future. And then if you can connect the student with local AAC support groups or online communities for ongoing learning, at least where I live, where I work, we don't have an AAC support group, but I do share with my students and the parents of my students some Facebook groups where they can like get extra support if they need it or connect with people that use AAC in case they have questions. That's all.
All right. Well, I think that brings us to the end of what we wanted to share with you today. So are there any questions that anybody has that you'd like to pop in the chat or unmute and ask? Does anybody have any other ideas or ways that they work with their high school or transition students that you could add to what we shared today? Love to hear that too, because we can always add that to our home-based document if anybody has any other websites or links or little tricks that you use. I would love to, we would love to add to it. All right, well.
I was just going to add, Jen, really quickly, a couple of the resources on the home base that we didn't specifically talk about. We have a training from AAC in the cloud where I got a lot of the ideas for how to use talking mats for transition planning, and that's linked there, as well as like some more specific information about talking mats. And then the assistiveware, the thinking space on Proloquo, where you can use that as a talking mat too if you haven't checked out thinking space. So there's some links to check that out as well.
Yes, definitely explore that. And that's through Proloquo,
Right.
not Proloquo to go. So if you haven't checked that out yet, that's definitely something to check out as well. All right. Well, as we wrap up today, I just invite you to reflect back on those 3 areas that we focused on today for our high school and transition students who use AAC, and see if you can think of one way that you already are or that you may want to further explore incorporating into your practice. So just take a moment to think about that for yourself in those 3 areas of fostering independence, routines to support life skills and self-advocacy. And just kind of, what do you guys think about that? So our kids are aging out. So give you just a minute to sort of think about that. Okay, maybe 30 seconds is all you're getting. All right, so if you wouldn't mind, we have a survey here about our inclusive learning circles, and we'd love it if you would go ahead and take that survey for us so that we can continue to grow with how we're presenting these and the topics that we are discussing. And I just wanted to remind you, we have one more inclusive learning circle for this school year, and that's going to be on May 21st. And the topic for that one is going to be UDL and learner agency. So we hope that you guys will join us. And shortly, I'm sure by the next inclusive learning circle, we will have our flyer available for the planned inclusive learning circles for the 25-26 school year that we have been busy putting together. So thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time today, and hopefully you got a few nuggets that can help you with your practice or reminded you of something that you maybe didn't think about and now you will again. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We are all over the place. We post a lot, and we would love to have more followers so that we can just continue to grow this work and have you as part of our community. So thank you very much. We hope you have a great rest of your week. And thanks, Natalia and Cassandra, for coming and presenting.
Of
Thanks for
course.
having us.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being a great audience.